Thank you for joining me tonight. I am Hawkeye, and this is Hawkeye's House of Horrors. And I'm continuing to go through the John Carpenter films. And I'm going to, at this time now, go back to the beginning. I've done part two and the third installment in that series already on my channel. It's Halloween. Um, as you can see here, I've got the poster here. It hasn't seen the light of day in a while. I didn't, I don't know, get it all cleaned up and everything. I think it looks okay. Uh, anyways, great poster. Love the poster. I got that. I just wanted to show that off too. Certainly I got the film here, on DVD. Yep, got that. John Carpenter's Halloween. So I'm going to do a review for that film at this time, and then I'm going to go through and continue on through the Halloween series and do reviews for those other films in this particular series. So I would say as well, if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit like as well as subscribe to let you know I certainly got other videos on here for reviews, generally horror and science fiction, fantasy, that kind of thing. But check it out. Maybe there's another film in there you'd like a review for as well that maybe you like or maybe didn't like. Every one I do, it's not one I like. But there you have it, and you can comment on anything about the film as well. That would be awesome to get your opinion. Now, this film was directed by John Carpenter, and it was written by Carpenter as well as Deborah Hill, I believe. Oh, I feel bad. Um, this may have been the first film they did together, or it was Assault on Precinct 13. I feel bad that I don't remember that. She may have worked on that picture as well. But the two of them wrote the script for this. So, uh, as I found out after seeing Assault on Precinct 13, Irwin Yablans and Mustafa Akid sought out Carpenter to direct a film, an idea they had about a psycho killer hunting down and killing babysitters. Uh, so there you have it. Here's your idea. Now the screenplay took about, from what I read, it took just 10 days to write. John's a fast writer. I like Assault on Precinct 13 did not take long to write either. Now this one was released on October the 27th, 1978, just in time for Halloween. Perfect timing. Now, this one certainly was a low budget. Had a budget of 325,000, or it seems like that was the tops I'm getting on what the budget was. So in today's dollars, that's 2026, that would be a budget of $1.6 million. Still not a very large budget at all. Um, but as you can see, or as I can see, his budgets are getting larger as the films progress. They're getting, or he's able to get a larger budget for his films. This budget was three times what it was for Assault on Precinct 13. And if you've seen that review, I thought that was an amazing film. Um, Now, this sucker, it made a rocket shot of a home run, upper deck, at the box office. This one made $70 million on a film with a budget of 325,000. So in dollars of 2026, that is $349 million. That is almost, or I said 400%, but it's maybe more like 350%. Whatever. Like it's fantastic job at the box office. And it is one of the most profitable independent films of all time. And I think it took the number one spot all time until Blair Witch Project came out, which I think, if I remember correctly, was like 1999. So pretty good. Excellent job there at the box office. and it's the third most successful slasher of all time. We're not just talking budgets here, just slasher, behind only Wes Craven's Scream and Scream 2. They're the only ones to make more money than Halloween at the box office. Now, as I read, Carpenter was paid $10,000 to write, direct, do the music for this film, just 10 grand. But he was also given 10% of the film's profits. That means he got paid $7 million for Halloween. Excellent job. And I think he deserved it. He did a wonderful job here. And the one thing I love about this film, I'll just say it now, is there is very little gore. Not saying it's a film for the kiddies, but um, restricted, it wouldn't be due to the violence. There's no gore scenes that I can think of. Yeah, I think the most bloody scene is right in the opening scene of the film, but there's nothing. Yeah, yeah, it's not like Hellraiser or something like that. It's definitely not a gory film at all. Carpenter is using suspense here and images, not of gore, but images to scare you, including the iconic mask that the killer wears to scare you. And I think he's very successful in doing this. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that front. Now, if you care, some may not. And I'm not thinking, or I'm not going to say, hey, you should. But with film critics, there's my cat Ludo, just walking around checking out the poster. Um, Looking at film critics, Leonard Maltin, I got a book of his. He gave this 3 stars out of 4 review. Um, that's good. That means Maltin's a fan of the film, as well as Roger Ebert. He's supposedly given, I've never read them, but I just said, oh, okay, I know Roger Ebert. He supposedly gives this film glowing reviews, and finds it a very scary film, or found it a very scary film. So I'm going to go through the story here now at this point. Um, and yeah, and then get into my likes and loves of this film. So the story starts back in 1963 on Halloween night. Now, right here, we are given an amazing opening. Um, and I can see an influence from Black Christmas, as well as Orson Welles, going on here. And we're given a POV, or a point of view shot of a killer, but it's actually a 6 year old boy. But we're given a POV shot from this character approaching the house, lurking around the house, looking through windows. He's now looking at his sister and her boyfriend, goofing around, kind of kissing, smooching on the couch. Um, Now, this teenage girl, her name is Judith Myers. Um, and I found out she was played by Sandy Johnson, who happened to be the June 1974 Playmate of the Month for Playboy. Um, Anyways, he's looking through the window at his sister and her boyfriend. Um, and this scene right here, like as it comes to this point and progresses until the end, it has influenced so many films. And definitely at one time I was churning through the early 80s horror films, and definitely through 80, 81, 82. So many of those films were just so influenced by Halloween, like it just kind of ripped it off, like, or like whatever, but like very heavily influenced by Halloween. And you know that it's a low budget, and these people didn't have much of a budget either. Hey, why not go for a winner, right? Just be influenced by that and see if you can cash in as well. Um, So yeah, as I said, we're seeing a POV shot of a 6-year-old. Now, this 6-year-old, his name is Michael Myers. Um, so he gets into the house, goes into the kitchen. We see them opening a drawer, grabbing a chef's knife. Very cool shot. I'm not sure if it was. It almost seems a little sped up, like it's a little whoa, like kind of it takes me a bit. It seems a little sped up. Going deeper into the house, going up the stairs, getting into her room. Um, he's sitting in there humming along, like combing her hair, and very cool. Puts on a clown's mask, and now we're looking through the clown's mask towards the sister, and then he ends up using the knife on the sister. And this is the scene that may be well, it is the goriest. It's in today's standards. This is just another scene in a horror film on in that regard. But I guess this is the goriest scene of the film. And I must say, even if the rest of the film was blah, I would recommend you seeing this film due to this opening. It's a terrific opening. Um, and it gets me every time. I love watching it. It's very well done by Carpenter. Um, excellent job. And then after this happens, Michael runs out of the house and meets his parents on the front yard coming home. And the father takes off the clown mask and standing there just sort of in awe or also like in a trance is Michael Myers, this little boy. And it's a zoom out. Um, and this is where Orson Welles comes in with this long, I suppose, crane shot, like of this family on the front lawn. Excellent shot. Really love it. Um, but I gotta say, after that's wrapped up, Judith and her boyfriend go upstairs and they have sex, but he's Mr. Quick. Like he didn't take long in that one. But anyways, yeah, you might notice that. But there you have it. That's the opening of the film. As I said, I really enjoyed it. Now, Michael is then placed into a mental asylum, and he's there for 15 years. So we meet Dr. Loomis, and this is an absolutely terrific performance from Donald Pleasance. Now, this role of Dr. Loomis, first off, it was named after a character from Psycho. That's Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Love that film. Um, I think one of the greatest horror films of all time. But he's named after the lover of Janet Leigh. And we'll get to her in a sec here too, or a sec or two, um, more about her. But uh, Loomis in Psycho, he is her lover. So Dr. Loomis is named after that character. But this role, um, it was offered to both Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. They both turned it down. I think they both would have been excellent in this role. I'm so glad Donald Pleasance grabbed it, and for not just one generation, but I think of everybody born when this film came out and after, this is a role they likely remember him from is Dr. Loomis. He does a terrific performance. There's the best dialogue in the film is from him. It's great. And it's Christopher Lee later said he said I think that was like the worst decision he made in his professional career was in turning down this film. I could not imagine I can, and it gets me a little excited, Lee in this role because you would literally have passing of the torch, maybe in a sense. You would have Dracula chasing down the new um, serial killer, opening, not opening, but like thundering down a door for slasher films in Michael Myers. And to this day, he's a huge character in horror. It would have been fantastic to see Christopher Lee chasing down Michael Myers as his doctor. But that being said, back to Pleasance, he was terrific in this role. So, what's happening here is Myers is going to be going to court in front of a judge and Dr. Loomis, along with Nurse Marion, played by Nancy Stevens, are coming to the asylum to take him there to have this happen. Thing is, Michael, we're never shown this, but he had to have caught wind of this, and he's escaping as they arrive. Um, and I love how they never show that to you. It's just he's escaping. And like the first few times, I'm like, well, isn't that a kind of like convenient? No, I think he found out about something and um, saw found a way out or waited for his way out and took that opportunity. Um, and so I love that you're never shown this, but you piece that together, or I piece that together in my mind that that is what has happened here. So Michael ends up stealing the very car that's going to be taking him to court and drives away with the car away from Dr. Loomis and the nurse. So Myers then goes back to Haddonfield, a fictional place, Haddonfield, Illinois. But this is where he's from, in search of some new victims, you could ask or say. Um, we do learn that he goes back to his home. This is like his home base. He goes back there, and then he begins to tail this teenage girl named Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis in her very first theatrical role. Um, she was also in other Carpenter films like The Fog, and she was also in Prom Night. You know, the same time frame. So the beginning of her career was very much in horror and became a scream queen. Uh, Boom, right out of the gate because of this film. Now her mother is Janet Leigh from Psycho, so that you know you could say that adds to that love for that film, or Psycho, the inspiration for certain things in this film. There you have it. I would say her character, she's smart, sorry, to the point of almost nerdy. Um, yeah, but a good character, a good person. Um, but she's a teenage girl, right? So there you have it. Now, I think in this original film, just take this one film. Don't worry about any of the sequels. But what connects her to Michael is the fact that she drops a key off to his old home because her father is a real estate agent. So she's there to drop a key off. Michael sees her and begins to tail her. That's the connection. And personally, I don't need anything more. Um, no, as long as there's something there, I'm fine with it. I don't need this grand, you know, epic yarn of why these two are connected. That works for me because you're not given a whole lot on a lot of these characters, and it works. I don't need any more. So it works for me, and I hope it works for you if you get that in this opening film. Now, Laurie has these two great friends, and Annie, played by Nancy Loomis. She was also in The Fog and Assault on Precinct 13. She is the strong and sassy one, and as well as Linda, played by PJ Souls, who was in Carrie before this one, Brian De Palma film, uh, based on a Stephen King book. And one I think is hilarious. That's Stripes with Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, John Candy. She was in that one too. I think that came out in '81, so a few years down the road. But she's the spunky, cute one. Totally. She says that a couple times. And that's definitely her line. Totally. So anyway, Annie that night is going to be babysitting Lindsay Wallace. And I'm assuming that's named after Tommy Lee Wallace, um, and who was the production designer and one of the editors of this film, played by Kyle Richards. Um, she was also in Toby Hooper's Eaten Alive and The Watcher in the Woods, a Disney film from 1980, so a couple years later. But her sister is Kim Richards, who was in Assault on Precinct 13, the previous film. So the next film, John gets the sibling of the girl that was killed in Assault on Precinct 13 here. So that's interesting as well, for sure. And at the same time, then Laurie is going to be babysitting Tommy Doyle, um, played by Brian Andrews, in a role I think I side with. When I was his age, absolutely. There's similarities between myself and him. Reading comic books, wants to watch hours of horror movies on Halloween night. You know, yeah, I could chill with him when I was his age. Yeah, I think we would have been buddies. So there you go. That's Tommy Doyle. And both of these characters, I know Tommy does, but I believe they both show up in future Halloween films as well. Um, but this sets up a night for Michael to wreak more havoc in Haddonfield. Um, Now, there's a lot going on in this film that um, definitely becomes a staple in future slasher films, like The Final Girl here, played by, oh, excuse me, Jamie Lee Curtis. Um, it's interesting though because I mean it's more than just her. There's Dr. Loomis, as well as the two children. They all, all four of them survived. But Laurie Strode is the final girl, so that continues to happen. And the next big one that comes out, I did a review for it too, is Friday the 13th, and boom, it's got the final girl of Alice. And if I can compare the two, Laurie Strode is definitely a better final girl than Alice from Friday the 13th, but that is just my opinion. So there you go. Other things going on, like the final girl finding the dead bodies. Um, you know, trying to get away from the killer, um, and people getting killed who do drugs, drink, or have partaken in some sexual activities at some point during the night or are going to. That's a staple as well. And Friday the 13th really hammered that one home with those rules, if you will, of slasher films. Now, one thing I really love about this film is getting to know Michael Myers, his character. You find it through Dr. Loomis's dialogue. And in particular, it's the dialogue along with the sheriff in the film. Let's see if he's on here. It's Charles Cyphers, no, but I was just seeing if there's a picture of him there. But the sheriff, the two of them talking, and Cyphers was also in Assault on Precinct 13 as well. He does a really good job in the role as well. Um, but it's those scenes where I'm almost like, man, like those are fantastic scenes because I think Pleasance's acting is just amazing as well. He's talking about Michael. Um, One I wrote down, I'm just going to recite the line. I love it. He says to the sheriff, I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left, no reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6 year old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another seven trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. Whoa, fantastic. And that's all I need to know about Michael is that right there. Wonderfully written. I think that was Carpenter. And just great performance by Pleasance in delivering that line, and Cyphers as well in hearing that line. Um, Great stuff. Now, I got to talk about it. It's crazy I haven't even mentioned it. Is the score to this film is fantastic. And it's held itself strong through these years because I think in every single Halloween film, that score comes out and it's boom. Like, if it isn't the same, it's based upon the score written and performed by John Carpenter. Um, yeah, and I think it's one of Carpenter's best scores as well. I love it, and I hope all slasher fans out there agree with that statement. It's a fantastic score. Now, as well, this happens maybe halfway through the film. Laurie sees Michael outside her home, and this is something I picked up on, and I'm sure I'm not the first guy to like say this. At least I don't think I am. Um, One of two things happens here after she sees him because he literally disappears in front of her eyes. He disappears. So either one, this is all in her head, um, that this Michael Myers guy was even there. We know he exists, but he was even there. So maybe she's just picturing them there and he wasn't there. Or number two, um, this is showing a very supernatural angle to Michael. Um, yeah, and I think this is the one I would agree with that he's showing a supernatural element. And I've heard Carpenter say that that was a part of it too of Michael's character was something supernatural, and I can see it right there in that scene. And I'm not sure if he said that in an interview as well. And I'm like, it's in my like somewhere far back in the recesses of my memory, and I'm like, okay, there, see, like there it is, and it was already pointed out to me. But um, that's what I get with that scene there. And before that, though, too, I think it's no, before or after. I think maybe it's after. I love the scene when Laurie and Annie are driving in Annie's car, and they're smoking a joint going down the street. What I love about it, though, is on the radio is "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult, which I think is amazing. It perfectly sets up this film or goes along with this film. I know it became uh, well known to people perhaps in a Saturday Night Live skit, with more cowbell, which was funny. But man, I wish it was maybe more of a staple within Halloween. That would be better in my opinion, anyways, because I just love this film and I love that song too. It's a spectacular song. Um, but I think maybe a reason why it's not is because it's so wonderfully subtle or it's subtly done. Like it's not very loud, um, and it doesn't play for very long. But yeah, that's Don't Fear the Reaper, and it's very quiet, but it's just I really like that. And I love the scene. Oh yeah, and because they're going to a hardware store where a bunch of stuff has been stolen by Michael, of course. Um, and Dr. Loomis shows up there, but then while Loomis is standing there looking down the street either way, Michael drives past him as he's like looking either way. I thought that was pretty cool and funny as well. If you want to find that funny, how he's able to slip behind his back so easily like that. But I love the scene where Dr. Loomis is hiding outside the Myers house and he scares the crap out of this little kid named Lonnie. Tommy knows him. Lonnie's a bit of a bully, played by Brent LePage. And then Loomis is like really happy he scared the crap out of this boy who then runs away. And then like a moment later, the Sheriff Brackett, Lee Brackett, named after the screenwriter Lee Brackett, um, but he shows up and then scares the crap out of him. It made me smile. I was actually laughing. It makes me smile every time I see that. I love that scene. And I love the scene where Michael later on, third act here, he's in a bed sheet, um, with Bob's glasses. He's killed this Bob that's Linda's boyfriend. Now he's coming after Linda, but he's wearing this big bed sheet like a ghost and wearing Bob's glasses. It's an iconic look. It's very cool. I like that a lot. And then the ending of the film to me is epic. Of Lori. He's chasing after Lori. She's getting in the closet. She closes the doors and he's like breaking through. He's got a knife on him there. But she grabs, I think she grabs a hanger, and then like stabs him in the eye with this hanger, to try and survive. And then he falls to the ground. She, of course, thinks he's dead. You know, he's not. She shuffles away to the doorway. And then he rises, like, yeah, like almost like in my mind, like a snake or something. Just like he's got a one track mind and he's to kill. Like it's just um, very cool, very cool look. Um, and then at the very end, because Dr. Loomis then shoots him and he falls to the ground. When Loomis looks and oh, he's not there. Shot him six times, I think, but and then it shows all the places in the film that the characters have been, or Michael, including the house they were in, the Doyle's home, I think. And it kind of tells me that evil is most certainly alive and could be just about anywhere, and it's in a common place. It's not, anywhere that you wouldn't be. So I like that message as well from Carpenter, if that's there. I think it is. Um, but I think that's the point of Halloween is that those last shots of like evil can be anywhere, right? But the point of the original is maybe, well, it changes once the sequel comes out because things are added that are not really even present in the first film, so therefore they weren't there in the first film. Now, the mask, as you may or may not know, was actually a William Shatner mask. And it was Tommy Lee Wallace, I think, he got a hold of the mask and then made some changes to it, with the hair, opening up the eyes, painting the mask white, all that, giving this great look. And I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but I have the mask and I've dressed up as Michael Myers a couple of times in my life for Halloween. And I'm like, I gotta do that, and I did at least twice, maybe even three times. Um, but I've got the mask here somewhere, and it looks pretty good to the original, I think. But very spooky looking mask. But all the rest of the films, other than the second one, might have had the same mask. I think it did. Um, But in other films, the masks are just nowhere near as good. Like some of them are look bad or are like too pale or too skinny or they aren't they don't look the same to me. But the original mask and I believe the second one are the best ones I think in my mind, for the mask, the look of the mask. Now the budget was so low the actors ended up wearing their own clothes, which is hilarious. That's called low budget right there. Yeah, and as well, Tommy Doyle was named after a character from Rear Window as well, another Alfred Hitchcock film. And personally, I think Rear Window and Psycho are tremendous. Um, I saw Rear Window on the big screen. Um, Same theater I saw Halloween on the big screen. First time I think my wife saw the film on the big screen and she liked it a lot. Um, but yeah, it's awesome. I've seen Halloween on the big screen, and if you have an opportunity, you got to take that um, out there if you have seen this film. go for it. It's always better to see these old classics on the big screen. That's what they were meant for, like that. And as I talked about, Lee Brackett, the sheriff, was named after the screenwriter. What is interesting is that was actually a woman, but here it's a man. Um, but there you have it. Um, Now, one thing I read and I find this funny, so I'm going to just share it with you. Supposedly in the scene with Dr. Loomis and Nurse Marion, in the car, supposedly had consumed 2 bottles of wine prior to shooting the scene, and I can't tell. He does a very good job in holding his wine or a lot of wine. So I'd probably be like, "Blee, blee, blee, blee," but he did a pretty good job having that much vino in him. So that's pretty funny. Now the filming took only 20 days to film, and that was in May of 1978, and it was in California as well. And supposedly there's palm trees there, and they had to paint leaves and scatter them around and everything because it was not the right time of year either. So, or place. That's interesting. And there was a novelization released in 1979, but I think it was also 78 because I swear one came out before the film did. But anyways, it was by Curtis Richards. I have that book as well. I don't have the original one, but a reprint where it has this on the cover. The original had a kid um, in with the pumpkin for a head with a knife and stuff. But yes, I have that book as well. And to let you know, Michael Myers was in fact named after the European distributor of Carpenter's previous film, Assault on Precinct 13, which I love, and I haven't heard any stories of him being a bad man or anything like that. So it was just a name John liked, or he was so happy to get that film distributed in through Europe that he used his name, I guess. So that's it. But that's the original Halloween. I love this film, and I'm gonna have some fun now, or more fun, going through the rest of these films. As I said, I got part two, part three on here. So go ahead, check out those reviews too. And yeah, so then I'm going to keep on pumping these out until I get through all 13 of these films at some point. So, so there you have it. But until next time, stay scared, everybody.